up with every excuse under the sun as to why they ain't finna take care of no other man's kid, right? But the real reason is because they know that they can't conquer and control you with another man's kid. That's why most of the time these men want to knock you up. A lot of women think that men want y'all to have their babies because, oh, you're such a wonderful woman and you're so great and you'll be a good mom and blah blah blah. No, this is the lies that they tell you guys. That's not why most men want you to have their babies. Most men look at knocking women up as a meal ticket, as a place to stay, as a way to anchor themselves into your lives.
I feel like we're talking about too many different things at one time. I think you're completely wrong. Why men don't want to raise another man's baby? That's has nothing to do with I'm trying to control you in some sort of way. Right? Most men don't want to. I think most men that have made something themselves don't want to be baby daddies. Full stop. I think sometimes where we go wrong is we compare the worst of us to all of us, and we take the characteristics or the descriptors of the worst of us and we put them to the rest of the community. We do it on both sides. Both genders do this, but here sometimes it just pays just to listen to what men are saying or why they don't want to raise another man's child. Full stop. It's fine just listening to that and going with that rather than doing all these illogical leaps to kind of fit wherever you may be. And it sounds like it's a place of hurt. Before we continue, and we let her continue because she has a lot more to say. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss no uploads. We're going to jump right back into it.
A car to drive, whatever it is that these individual men are looking for in their lives, whatever they're lacking, they're using you. They're using your womb to solidify their place on earth and as a safety net. Because most men feel as though they can always go to their baby mama.
So I think when you look at people or you look at men that have no issue with being a baby daddy, who have normalized that, and I've had a couple of videos on here where men in their 30s or mid 30s are saying the same thing. If you haven't had a baby by now, something must be wrong with you. If you haven't had a baby at this age, you're the problem. We're trying to normalize this dysfunction in our community when we understand fully how difficult your life becomes when you're not ready for a child or when you have a child and you're in a certain socioeconomic position. It just life becomes intrinsically more expensive and more responsibilities. Jobs do not cater to your time management when it comes down to a child. Child rearing or child services is becoming increasingly more and more expensive. Where even if you can't afford to, it makes more sense to have one parent stay at home just because it may cost you 25 to 30, $35,000 a year just for childcare. And if that other person's not making that, and I'm not just talking making that gross, you need to make 60, $70,000 after taxes to just pay for childcare. It makes more sense to keep one parent home. We understand how difficult it is. To make it seem like this is just a flippant thing to do is false for most men. When you compare the worst of us and ascribe that to all of us, you get things like this where it's like, in order to refute a lot of this, you've got to tear away a lot of bad notions that you're already holding.
Because they know how women feel about wanting the baby daddy to be in the kid's life forever and blah 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 blah. They use all of that against women on a daily basis. Y'all think it's flattering that these men want y'all to have their babies? It's not. They don't. Men and women don't have babies for the same reason.
Listen, it should be flattering depending on the character of the man, depending on the standing of the man. I think you honestly know this and understand this. You just don't look at his character or where he is in that moment. You're caught up usually in some sort of limerence. You like the style, you like the bad boy, you like that life, or you think that there's something about that person that you can change rather than understanding, hey, this isn't going anywhere. Or more importantly, I wouldn't even be the first baby mama. Or more importantly, why am I struggling to be a baby mama? Why am I signing up to just be a baby mama? Is sometimes what we do in our community, we make it seem as if this person is a master manipulator, that they've went to school for it. They're a supervillain. They have this incredible amount of charisma and a tactical mind. So they tricked you. They pulled the wool over your eyes, and it was this long 37-step program. They're Alonzo in Training Day. They're planning this thing this for this entire time to set you up. You know, sometimes we have to understand we're complicit in our poor decision making. We sat here, we decided, we saw this, and it looked good. It looked shiny. It felt good in the moment. I ran with it. I didn't do any type of due diligence. I didn't look at him. I didn't vet him. I didn't see if he was worthy of carrying his seed into the next generation. I think that's if we looked at it like that, if we can get people to understand that it's a duty, it's an honor, it's a privilege for something like this to happen. When 40% of men are not going to pass on their genetic material, it's just constantly that's been a very constant number throughout history. The ones that do, it should be looked at as an honor. Just because we all or the majority of us are capable of doing it doesn't mean that it cheapens the act. When we find ourselves in these situations where now you're pregnant or you already have the child and he's already off to the next one, I know the easy thing to say you should have chose better, but it's a hard thing for men to just sort of let go, especially men that have taken their time and sort of tried to navigate things carefully to not end up in that situation where one, you're raising someone else's kid, two, someone else is raising your kid. If you've taken that time to sort of navigate and be careful, yeah, you should consider yourself lucky, privileged in another tier in the way our black community is sort of moving. But to think that you being told, hey, you would make a great mother is the same when the man that has and make good decisions for his life says that to you versus someone that you see on the corner regularly. It's a very different conversation. Very different conversation.
Just like as little girls, we're taught to be a mom, learn how to cook, learn how to clean. You're going to be a wife one day type shit. And then the boys are taught, go out and sow your wild oats and sleep with as many women as you possibly can and get your money up. And the more money you make, the more hoes you get and blah, blah, blah. Totally different views.
But you have to look at it realistically. You're comparing the best that women are taught versus the worst that men are taught. When we all understand we're all being taught on different spectrums. Those same men, or some of the lessons that men are also getting, is you're supposed to provide and protect your family. You're supposed to put your body on the line to shield them, protect them. That's also a virtuous thing that men are being taught. But when you compare the worst of what men are taught versus the best of what women are taught, and you make it seem like this is the norm, men aren't getting those lessons. I never got the lesson, go out there and sow your wild oats. My father had very little to tell me when it came down to sex, when it came down to women. His advice was always, yeah, just go out and do your schoolwork. Right? That's a Nigerian household for you. Go out and do your schoolwork, focus on yourself, focus on those goals, become something, and then you have something to offer your family. Right? Though that last part I had to fill in because that's how little advice I got pertaining to women. So we're not out here being taught how to take advantage, how to manipulate, or more importantly, that this is why we basically put our seed into women so we can do these things, so we can control you. To bring it home, we're not reluctant to raise other men's children because we can't control you through that child. We don't want to do it because it goes against this sort of biological imperative. We want to see ourselves or a piece of ourselves go throughout generations. We want to see have that legacy, have that thing there going forward. That's not a dig. That's not to say anything's wrong with your child that you had with this man. It's just not our child. And until we stop making excuses and sort of just realize sometimes you ask a man what he thinks about that and let him tell you what he thinks rather than coming to your own conclusions because it sounds like you've recently been hurt and this fits your worldview. But listen, if you think I missed something, and you feel like adding it in the comment section, feel free. You see videos on your screen right now, take a look at those. Let me know your thoughts about those videos in those videos as well. And of course, if you listen to my voice now and you haven't subscribed, just join the train. We're just trying to pay the rent. I'll see you in the next one.